Like, today I'm actually walking in, okay? All this, y'all.
Why that answer is correct and why the other questions are incorrect.
Plus all the videos online, plus my practice exams. So, basically my most consistent days studying. And so I can show y'all what the online version of this class looks like. Hello, y'all. Oh my goodness. It has been a second since we have sat down and talked about the RD exam. And by a second, I mean since I literally opened my book up for the first time in December. If y'all don't know me, if you are at this video because you are studying for the RD exam, maybe you're about to be studying and you want to kind of see what it's going to be like and get some tips, then you are in the right place. My name is Victoria and I am a nutrition student at the University of Alabama. I just graduated with my bachelor's in food and nutrition last May, and then this May I am about to graduate with my master's in human nutrition. And for the past 2 years, so my senior year of college and then now my one master's year, I have been in both the university's accelerated master's program and the university's coordinated program in dietetics, which coordinates my master's classes with my dietetic internships. Which basically just means that this year and last year, I have been a very, very busy girl where kind of my schedule looks like Mondays, I have class all day mixed with studying, doing assignments. Then Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, each of those days, I work 8 hours at whatever internship I am at. And most of my rotations have been in Birmingham. So that also involves 2 hours of commuting all 3 of those days. And then Wednesdays, I have also had class all day. And let me tell you, trying to balance that with social life has been a bit challenging, especially because last year and this year, like last year was my senior year and it was my friend's senior years. So they were all about to graduate and leave, and I just felt like I needed to take in every moment. And then this year is my last year in college ever, which is just insane. It's my last year in Tuscaloosa, so I've really been trying to make the most of it and go to all the social events that I possibly can. Now, all of that gets a little bit more tricky when you add in studying for the RD exam. And maybe you're new here. Maybe you are interested in dietetics. Maybe you're watching me because you're in a nutrition major. Well, what is the RD exam? So this is the registered dietitian exam. And it is basically what you have to take to actually become a dietitian. So once you go through and get your bachelor's degree, your master's degree, your 1,000 supervised practice hours, you still have to sit for the exam. And that is the final thing that you have to do to actually become an RD. And let me tell you, right now, the passing rates are pretty low. The test is out of 50 points and the passing is half of that. So the passing score is a 25. And most of the scores that I've been hearing about are between like a 26 to like a 27. So it makes me a little bit nervous. And honestly, like when I graduate, I just want to become an RD as fast as I can, especially because I've heard from a lot of my professors that people tend to lose a lot of the knowledge that they've gotten from being in their internships the further that they wait to take the exam. So all the professors that I've had recommend that you take it as soon as you possibly can, even if you don't have that much of a chance to study beforehand. But I'm trying to kind of like do everything and not only take it as soon as I can when I graduate, but also have studied really well before then, because I hate test taking, okay? Like the ACT, like I worked my butt off to get a good grade on the ACT, to get into college, all the things, but I hated it. I hate sitting for testing like that, and especially because the RD exam is on a computer. And basically, you don't know how many numbers of questions that you're going to have, because it's kind of like one of those tests where if you get a question wrong or right, I think it's maybe if you get the questions wrong, then it will give you more questions in that category. So like if you get a food service question wrong, then you're going to get more food service questions for them to see if you actually know about that topic. And if you're doing really well, it could give you more questions because it might want to test you on like questions that they want to try out for the next year. Or if you're doing really well, you might like be stopped early because they're like, great, you passed, you've done it. So anyways, all of this just makes me very nervous about the idea of taking the RD exam and why I just want to be prepared as possible. And I was so prepared that I got my RD exam booklet as early as December, okay? That gave us a lot of months though, okay? Because that's December, January, February, March, April, and then May 1st is when I graduate. But so that's already 6 months. But my professor, we actually were talking to her about it, and she said that the amount that it's going to take for the university to like confirm my degree, and then for her to like put in for like our credentials of like how many supervised practice hours that we've gotten and making sure that's all good, we probably won't be able to take the exam until June. So that's like 7 months from when I got my RD exam booklet to when I actually am going to be able to take the exam. And I kind of realized early on that it was going to be more months than I needed, because I think that they recommend about 2 to 3 months of studying. But this is obviously going to vary if you have like a full-time job or you're doing like what a coordinated program is, which is like a full-time job because you're busy all the time. And so I kind of was like, okay, maybe 4 months will be like a good range, 4 to 5 months. So I didn't end up studying December. And also, let me actually show you. This is going to be a really helpful timeline for you, because I have actually been tracking how much I've been studying and on what days I have been studying on. So I will pull up my little Excel here, and y'all can basically see that I put it down in December. I realized that I wasn't going to need to be studying that early. And then January, when we went back to school, I kind of got in the zone, okay? There was like a good chunk of time in January where I was studying about every day. And if you saw my original plan for my RD studying, what my plan was I was going to try to study at least 1 hour every day, with Thursday being like a flex day, because that's one of my rotation days, which means that I could either study that day or not, depending. And then I was going to have Friday off, so one day not studying. And then I was going to try to do 2 hours on Saturday and Sunday. And let's be real, that has not happened. A single day I have not studied for 2 hours. So, you know, that just not realistic for me personally. And the other thing is, the reason that I'm starting studying so early is because there are people who will treat studying for the RD exam like a full-time job. So like they'll graduate and they'll say, okay, I am just going to take 2 or 3 weeks and 8 hours a day, I'm just going to study. And I'm going to be real, I know that personally for myself, I couldn't do that. I would absolutely hate that more than anything, which is why I'm starting so early and just doing a little chunk at a time. And it's also why I haven't been able to study more than an hour every day. Okay, back to our Excel sheet. So as you can see, I was doing pretty good in January, staying on topic. And then when I started my sports internship, I kind of fell off a little bit, and especially in February. February took a hard hit, okay? Early February, when I found out that it was about to be the last week of February, I looked at my little Excel, I looked at my progress, and I said, oh my God, I have only studied 2 days in all of February. So I tried to set the goal for myself to study every single day this past week. I think I missed 1 day, maybe 2 days. And I haven't studied yet today. That's kind of how this is going. And so this week, what we are doing so that you can get a real look at like what it looks like for me trying to study for the exam in my life, how I'm going about it, what I'm doing, I'm going to take you guys through with me. The other special thing about right now is that I am between internships. So right now I have a break between when I ended my sports dietetic internship and when I'm starting my second clinical internship. So right now all I have are classes, which means that Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, I have some free real estate on my schedule, okay? And that is pretty rare for being in the coordinated program. And now that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to study multiple times a day those days, even if I have a goal for it, but it does mean that I will hopefully be able to study at least 1 hour those days. So this week, y'all are coming along with me, and we are going to get some things on this Excel sheet, okay? We are gonna fill her up. We are gonna get further in our studying. So let's look at the book. So I am using the All Access Dietetics Pass the Exam Prep. And this is the first thing that I'm using, this little thicky book here. This is the first thing that I'm using. I think that my professor was talking to us, our coordinated program director, and she was talking about what is something that she could buy for all of us with the coordinated program money. And basically we talked about getting the like pocketbook prep. So I think we are also going to do that. And then we might also get like a practice exam from Eat Right. Although I did also get a practice exam from Pass the Exam prep from All Access Dietetics. And I've just heard such wonderful things about this. And so far it seems kind of useless because the things that I'm learning about, I'm like, this does not seem relevant. But you know what? That's just because I am in the management concepts section. And to tell you guys what I've done so far, it's management concepts. It's all management concepts. I was planning to try to get done with management concepts today. I don't know if that will happen. I dearly hope with everything in my being, but like yesterday, I got to, and basically what it is like each section you get through, you have these like practice problems and like practice questions. And let me tell you, yesterday I finished my section, I got to my practice questions, and I was like, I can't do this. Like I literally cannot look at this material. So I'm gonna have to do those today. But like, I don't know, guys. It's just been going through, but I have to be really mindful because not only do I have to go through this whole book and all of this, but there are videos, because not only do I have the in-person thing, I have the online thing of this, and there are videos. So once I finish the management concept section, I will then have to go online and watch some videos on management concept according to their, like, to the all access, like, template of, like, what they say to do in what order. And I also have heard that there's a big chunk of the medical nutrition therapy that's, like, on a different thing that's not in this. So I'm really having to speed up, I think, because the thing is, guys, okay, I think I'm gonna say, like, call this like 1 month of studying for the RD exam, because I haven't even studied for 30 days, but I have been studying for 2 months or over 2 months period of time. I just haven't gotten that much done, and that's why I'm realizing that I need to speed up, because it's starting to be March, which means that I told you I graduate May 1st, so I have March and I have April. And I guess I have May if I can't take the exam until June. So that is 3 months to get things done. It's already been 2. And you know what I've done during 2 months? I have gotten until this cute little panda bear right here. This is what I've done, okay? And yes, you know what? That's a chunk, and it does make me feel better about myself when I open my book now. But all this, y'all, like, I have to get through all of that, plus all the videos online, plus my practice exams. So basically, I just need to lock in, especially right now when I don't have rotations. I have got to lock in, and I do think if I'm doing the videos, although I haven't looked at them yet and I haven't tried them, I do think that I will be able to do more than 1 hour of video a day, because just knowing me, it's just looking at this book, it's just hard to do more than 1 hour. So that is kind of the goal right now. Those are my thoughts right now about, like, reassessing my plan, and I'm just kind of, like, freeballing it, okay? I'm just kind of figuring out as I go. I'm hoping that these videos about my journey studying for the RD exam will help some of you. Maybe it won't, because I've also heard stories of people who, like, study for 2 days, take the exam and pass, or it probably more like 2 weeks. But again, that's just not really me. I'm just more of, like, a long-term girl. And it's also helping to see all my notes kind of pile up in my iPad, because I'm like, okay, I am getting information in, I am learning, I'm retaining. And this book, I will say, is really good for, like, retaining information, because it's all about, like, the study smarter method, and I have been using the techniques, and anytime I see something in here that I'm like, I really don't want to do that right now, all I think is, like, it's actually going to help me in the long run, and if I skip it, it's not hurting anybody except for me. So that is what I've been doing. Now, I don't think I'm going to go study immediately right now for the RD exam today, and hopefully I will study today, because for some reason I'm just, like, I'm not feeling the excitement. Like I said, we're just ready to be done with management concepts, but at some point today, I'm going to pick y'all back up. We are going to study for at least an hour, set a timer on my phone, and that's the other thing that helps, is setting a time frame. As you can also see from my Excel, the last few sections that I've done, it's taken me just an hour to finish the entire thing, but it helps me set that hour alarm clock, because if I know that I have to get to the end of the section, that just is not really, like, motivating for me. I need, like, a time so that even if a section takes me slower than usual, I can just take my time and stop in the middle of it, and that's completely fine. Okay, so we are going to break here. I'm going to see y'all later for studying 1 hour for the RD exam, and y'all are going to follow me this whole week through my studying, and we're going to check out these videos. We're going to see how it goes, and I'm going to keep y'all freaking updated, and I'll see y'all later. Okay, psych, I did not end up studying yesterday. Shocker, I know. Like I said, this is just how this is kind of going right now, and yesterday I just didn't really feel like it, and I had other schoolwork to do. So today we are about to go to campus, we're about to go to class, and today I'm telling y'all about what I've been doing on my class days and how those have been basically my most consistent days studying have been the Mondays and the Wednesdays. So we are about to walk to campus and go to the library after class, and then I'll show you me studying for the exam, and we'll talk a little bit about what my strategy has been and how I have kept consistent to studying while I'm on campus. So as y'all know, this is my last year in college and my last semester in college. And with that being said, I talked a lot with my friends this summer about making the absolute most of it. And one person that I talked about how they clock in and out of campus every day in hopes that they do not have to do any types of schoolwork at home, which I just love the idea of that, because again, it's so hard to balance, like, rotations with classes with social events. So I feel like giving myself a set time on campus to do these things has been really beneficial, especially because I have 2 online classes right now as well. So giving myself a set time to go to the library and actually get those things done has been so beneficial to having a really good work-life balance this semester. And this has also been the time which I've been doing my RD exam studying, which is why really Mondays and Wednesdays have been the only days that I have really been able to be consistent so far. And I know that every Monday and Wednesday I will at least get an hour done on those days, which yes, sometimes that means that it's only 2 hours a week, but that's better than nothing. And it keeps me in a really good routine. And really the only way that this is possible is because I have those 2 online classes. So I come to campus for about an hour and a half long class. And then I basically plan for myself to stay for 4 hours at the library after that class is over. And then I'll go home for the day and try to be absolutely done with RD exam studying and with doing classwork. I've also found that it can be really good to have a third space that's not just like your apartment, your house, because for me, it is so easy for me to find distractions, to find excuses of why I don't need to study at home. For example, I'll look over at my desk and it will be cluttered, and I'm just really not in the mood to clean, but I am in the mood to study. But because the cleaning has to happen of the desk before the studying can happen, then the studying does not happen. Or like maybe I want to study in the living room, but my neighbors are being too noisy, and it's just really easy for me to make excuses. So having a third space where I know like, okay, well, I can just drive to the library, or I can just set these times during the week where I'm going to be at the library. So at least I know that then I'm getting my studying done with no distractions, no excuses. And really that has helped a lot as well. And I have, of course, done some studying at home, usually on weekends or on days that I have my rotations, but this just doesn't tend to happen as often, especially because when I get done with my rotation days, I am so exhausted from being there for 8 hours and from doing my exercise, my half marathon training for the day, and just all the other things and schoolwork that it's so hard to make myself just sit down and do it, especially when it's nighttime and all I want to do is be in my bed and watching a show. And I kind of realized early on that it was going to be like this on my rotation days and that I really needed to take advantage of these Mondays and Wednesdays and weekend days to be actually getting some study hours in, and I'll show you all a clip of me early in January really coming to this conclusion.
Okay, so yesterday was my first day of my community rotation, and there have been days before this where I've just kind of like forgot to do my hour of studying, or I was like, it's fine, I don't have to, like I have so many months until the RD exam and like it's fine, I just won't do it today. But yesterday was the first time where like I really was planning to, and I got home, and the first thing I did when I got home I went to work out because I had to be at work from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. and so I didn't have time to work out in the morning. So finished, I wanted to work out while there was still daylight outside. But when I finished working out and I finished like making and eating dinner because I was starving, I literally got in bed, y'all, it was 7 p.m. and I got in bed thinking that it was like 10, and I was like, man, I'm about to go to sleep. And when I realized it was 7, I was like, there's no way. Like I could study for the RD exam right now. Like I have an hour before I like would realistically need to go to sleep. But it was just like not in the cards for me, which number one made me understand more like the flex aspect of it. Like I have like one flex session a week, and which is like if you don't need to study that day, that's okay. But if you can study more that day, then that's also okay. And it also is like, okay, maybe I need to start focusing more on the days that I like really do have an hour to ensure that on the days when I really just like don't have the time, that at least I did it those other days, if that makes sense. I'm just talking about a lot of days right now, but yes. So right now the sun has risen by now, and I've been doing this since like 6:30. So I am studying away for the RD exam, and yeah, it's still January, still really early on, and I am foreseeing that I will do more and more sessions as the time goes on and as the months get closer to May and June. So yeah.
If only I could see me now, where I have not picked up the amount of studying that I've been doing, and I am not at the place that I thought I was going to be in. But it's okay because, again, we're just going, we're doing our very best, and we're just riding the wave, seeing what happens. But like I said, this week is a little bit different because I am on a break from rotation. So Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays right now, I am free. So I don't have to worry about getting home late and skipping sessions or figuring out if I'm going to do it that day. This week, y'all get to see me just actually have time to do my work, which is going to be really awesome. So this next clip is on me on Tuesday. Okay, y'all, so right now I am on a break from my rotations, which means that I have all day Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday completely free, which I have not had the whole semester. And in fact, I have not had those days free for the past like year and a half. So it's really exciting to be on such a long break right now. And so I'm trying to make the absolute most of it by studying more on these days, or at least making sure that I study on these days. So for example, like I told y'all, I've been having like a flex day on Thursday and then Friday off. But now I've been making sure that I actually am studying on the Thursday and on the Friday. So today is Tuesday, and this is an example of me trying to make sure that I'm actually studying today. And so I am sitting outside because it is such a nice day, and I feel like sometimes you just kind of have to let yourself like do something that sounds like really appealing. And right now, sitting inside and studying didn't sound appealing, so I moved my butt outside, and now I'm sitting at this gorgeous table. I have a gorgeous view of the city of Tuscaloosa, and I'm excited to actually like be just doing work outside. So right now, I am actually finishing the practice questions that I neglected to do the last time that I studied. I know it's been a few days, and I know that I didn't study on Sunday. That is really on me. I actually sat down and tried to start doing these practice questions yesterday on Monday. But the thing is, like, when I tell y'all I've got senioritis, I have it bad. Like, I am ready to get out of this place and just be done with school and be done with all of this studying. So today I'm actually locking in, okay? I was in like the contemplation stage on Sunday. Now I'm in the action stage, okay? We're actually doing it, trying to make it a habit. And yeah, so I'm gonna finish these practice questions, which I didn't do the other day. And then I'm going to move on to the next section, which I believe is project management tools. What a joy. What a fun time to be alive. I just love life right now. So finish these, and then I will talk to y'all after I'm done. Okay, so this is one thing that I like about the program that I've been doing, which is the all access. So at the end of each chapter, there are practice questions. So I've been rewriting them out basically. Oh, sorry, they're actually back here. So they're back here. And so basically it has a list of both self-assessment application questions and practice questions, which are multiple choice. And so basically this encourages you to not do them by like what you remember, but instead to actually go back in the text and find them. So like this was me going back in the text to find the answer to this question. And so basically what it has you do is like, yes, you took notes on all this different parts of stuff, but when you get to the practice questions, it'll ask you this, and instead of thinking something, you actually make sure you get it right by first going back and then reading this section, which means that you get the information in your head a second time, and then you know for sure what the correct answer is. And part of their Study Smarter method is making sure that you are actually going in the text instead of doing it from memory, because basically what can happen is that if you try to do it from memory, your brain will kind of conceive it will rationalize what it thinks the correct answer is. And then if you go back and do that question later, even if you got it wrong, you're more likely to just put down the answer that you put the first time because your brain already did a lot of work rationalizing it. Whereas this way you are like guaranteed to get the right answer and the correct answer, and your brain is able to still do that process, but just by actually reading in the text to figure out what the correct answer is. Now let's finish the other 6 questions. Okay, boom, just finished all the practice questions and I felt good about them. Again, I just went through like the actual text to find the answers to all of them, and I don't always write every single one of them out. Like sometimes I do, and sometimes it's a lot of writing, like this one, writing out all of the question and answers is a lot, but some of them, like this one for example, I just did a question on Mgmt, and so I knew what it meant, so I just went ahead and did that one without having to write out like the options for the answer. And also, one thing that I like about the Study Smarter method that they encourage you to do is when you're doing the practice questions, don't just circle the answer, write out why that answer is correct and why the other questions are incorrect, or like what they mean. So like this one is asking for which performance improvement model is like unique to the involvement of all employees, and so this one is the only correct one. And then I just write out what these are about, that not only reminds me what I actually learned about, but also gives me a chance to like cover that material again. And this one I wrote a little bit more because I actually didn't go over that super detailed at all.
And yeah,
I'm also being a little bit bad on this one because I only did the practice questions that are multiple choice, and I did not do the self-assessment and application questions, which are short answer. But that's mostly because these short answer questions on this module specifically are asking me to write out things that I already did in the rest of my notes that I was writing while I was doing the section. And so basically I just didn't really feel like I needed to do them. And I am very aware that like if I skip anything that the book is asking me to do, that's not me, like I'm not cheating the system. It's not hurting anybody except for me in the long run. And it's not like basically I'm the only one that's getting hurt from me not doing things. And I just have to like be like smart about that. But like for this section, I'm like, okay, if I am on the RD exam and I can't remember like what the PDSA model stands for, that's okay. I don't know that I really am gonna remember what the PDSA model is. I might remember some of the information, but like it's okay. And I'm like making that conscious decision when I'm choosing not to do this like self-assessment and application questions. Now I am very hungry. It is about lunchtime. I think this is a good place to stop for now. I am going to do an hour of actual studying after lunch. This was just me doing the practice questions. And to be real, the other day when I put an hour for me doing this section on performance improvement models, I didn't actually work for an hour. So I think I'm just going to put this up under that hour, because really what I'm trying to do is have an accurate recounting of the actual time that I'm spending. And I could have done this during that time. I just didn't. So it'll be more accurate if I put this under that hour. And then today I just put 1 hour for whatever I actually do work on. So I'm gonna go break for lunch and then I will be back at this table. Okay, y'all, I am done with lunch and I was looking before I got up to go eat, and I'm about to do the last section, like the last chapter of this management concept section, which is so exciting because I feel like, well, I don't feel like, it's a fact, I've been working on this management concept session for over 2 months now. So safe to say that I'm ready to be done with it.
as you can see, we've gone through that, all of this, and now we are about to start project management tools. And if you want another overlook of what else this book has, if you're like interested in getting it, we've got some research concepts, which is going to be pretty short section, calculations and formulas, which is scary for me because I am pretty bad at math. Then we have food service logistics, food safety. Oh, it's windy outside now. Food science. That's going to be a long section. Normal digestion, excited, nutrition care. And like I said, I think that there's a whole extra section that they have about like MNT, medical nutrition therapy, but this looks to be pretty long too. And then we end off with enteral and parenteral nutrition, kidney function. Okay, a lot of that. And then that's pretty much it. So that's our little table of contents for this all access past the exam prep.
And I really cannot wait for the next thing that I do to be videos, because looking at this book, I am tired of it and I'm not even like a little bit of the way through. I showed y'all the guys the other day. I am just like this much done of the whole book. So I'm excited about it.
And to show you how I actually will go through a chapter, which I'm trying to get to finish this chapter in the next hour, is basically first what you're supposed to do for the Study Smarter method is you go through and you read the titles. So Pareto charts, okay? And then I'm gonna say example, diner complaints. And then you're gonna look at every chart. So here we've got type of complaint versus number of complaints. And you know, you're as lost as I am right now because I don't know what's going on. Guys, I don't wanna move inside, but it's kind of windy. Okay. And then we're going to say, why do we use Pareto charts? Benefits of Pareto charts. And then we're moving on to cause and effect diagram, which I have seen this fishbone framework before.
Oh.
And this is like, they have little prompts throughout. So this one like asks you like a question about what you just read. And then I'm going to read like the steps to construct Pareto chart. 1, sequential tasks. Oh, that's number 2. 3, add time estimates. Then we're going on to the benefits of PERT charts. Did that say PERT before? It totally did. What were we on this page? Pareto. Okay, I was continuing. It wasn't a continuation. Anyways, then the planning process. Basically, I'm reading the headings without anything else. And what this does is once I see where it ends and kind of how many pages it's made up of, this gives me a better idea of like how much I actually have to get through until I get to the assessment questions. So it keeps my brain kind of locked in and focused instead of like, I don't know how much I have left. I don't know how many pages of this there is, because that kind of can get your brain lost on like I'm just trudging through this. I don't want to know when it's going to end. And instead it gives you like a straight ending point. And the second thing that it does is you have already read all those words twice, and now I don't know what they mean, but they are familiar in my brain now when I actually go back and read the details. And it kind of gives me the outline of what I'm about to be reading so that I'm more locked in and focused when I'm actually reading it. These are tools that I honestly wish that I had earlier in college for reading like my PowerPoints and stuff, because it honestly is really helpful. And I think it is helping me to study, even though it's like a lot of information and I'm spending a little bit of time on each section. So I think that it's been doing really good for me so far on it. Obviously, we're not going to know until the time of the RD exam comes, but I'm on page 150 in this book now, and it goes until page 800. So 1/8 of the way through, a little bit more than that. And yeah, so I'm going to do this next hour, and I'm really excited because the next thing that I do after this, I think, is doing the management concepts videos. And so not only do I get to explore the online portion of this a little bit more, but I also get to do something that's not just reading in the book and doing what I have been doing the last 2 months, which the only reason it's taken 2 months is because I have made it take 2 months. Regardless, we're going to get into it. And as I'm digging into this too, also what I'll do is I'll read like probably this section through before writing anything. Then after reading this all the way through, then I'll move over to my iPad and I'll actually write any of the notes about it of what I think I want to remember. Okay guys, we are officially done with the book part of management concepts. Thank goodness. Like, oh my gosh, what a relief. I am so happy to be alive right now. It's so nice outside. Literally, it has become just like such a nice day. And I'm about to go inside. We're gonna get on my computer and we're going to basically write in the Excel for today. And yeah, I'm not sure if I'm gonna have time to actually look at and start tackling the video portion today, so that may have to wait until tomorrow, but I feel pretty proud of myself today for finishing those practice questions and doing at least an hour of the studying, because even though it's only an hour, it just feels like a long time. Like, it just feels like a long time. But proud of myself today. And tomorrow we're gonna get into the video assignments. Today is an exciting day, y'all, because today we have no rotations and we are not opening up our RD exam booklet, because instead we're going online to our past class account to check out what these videos look like, and so I can show y'all what the online version of this class looks like, so you can see for yourself if it's worth buying. And the best part of not having rotations is that I can work in bed all day. Okay, let's open her up and see what we have to work with. Okay, as y'all can see on my past class, I have the book, and then I have a mock exam, which I'm not going to do until after I finish studying, I think. But as you can see, I've been doing everything in the book, so this says that I'm only 3% done, even though I've done quite a bit more than that. Now we are going to go and click, where's my mouse? Okay, now we're going to go click view content. And if you guys saw basically from my first video that I did when I like unboxed my book and I looked at all of this, I went through everything that they have on here, and that will give you a better idea of like if you want to purchase this or invest in it. But essentially this is what it looks like online. And then here is the sample study plan that I was originally going off of. Now 12 weeks is of course 3 months. So this would be a 3-month plan. But as you can already see, I have taken so much longer, because if you literally look here at week one of this 12-week program, you were supposed to do all of the management concepts plus food safety plus research concepts. And I just finished management concepts. So in all the stuff that y'all saw in my Excel, the last 2 months that I've been like slowly studying like every other day, whatever, over time, I've just finished the management concepts portion of this. But I still have to do the videos. And then it goes kind of out of order, because what would have been next is the research concepts, but this says to go ahead and do food safety. So I'll probably end up following this. And then basically it goes through, and it looks like the first 4 weeks are essentially going over the material. And then after that, after week 5, it's supposed to be like these practice questions. But it's going to take me much longer, and probably I will be doing practice questions all of May.
Because like I told y'all, I probably won't actually be able to sit for the exam until June. So hopefully May will be kind of like my review period, if not like finishing some of the other things. But it's kind of crazy looking at that and seeing that all of management concepts was supposed to fit into 1 week, because that was a lot of hours worth of work. But I also haven't done that many hours so far. Like, I need to count up and see how many I've done, but even though it's been over a longer span of time, it hasn't been that many hours. So let's keep looking and see where these videos are.
I'm also realizing this, so the RSG means study guide. So I just finished the management concept study guide, and then the RS is the review sessions that are recorded, and there's 2 per session usually. So these are the 2 that I'm needing to do, is the part 1 and the part 2 for those videos. What is interesting is that these, even though this comes like first in the study guide, they are all the way at the bottom of this video section. So I'm not really sure like why this is arranged how it is, but for some reason they're at the bottom here when they're the first thing here. All right, so management part 1 is 84 minutes and management part 2 is 79 minutes. So if we click on management part 1, okay, so it is no, it's not 1 video. Maybe it is. Okay, it's 1 video, and then this is the PowerPoint for what's included. Okay. That is a lot of material, but hopefully it will be things that I just learned about to kind of like get it more into my head. Let's see.
Right past class, management part 1 tonight. Starting with management, it makes up a large percentage of the exam, being domain 3.
Well, this might be a little bit monotone and a little bit boring, but let's see if we can get at least 1 hour done of this video. And also, I didn't really read anything about whether you're supposed to take notes on the videos or not. I'll get my iPad just in case I feel like I'm needing to, but I might just try to like listen really intently and just really pay good attention. Okay, this is all the same stuff that I've already done in the study guide, which is a relief because it means that I don't have to take notes, and it's really just a review session that's a little less intensive than like reading, and also it's like somebody else can actually tell me like what's important, and like hearing it from another perspective and hearing some things that I haven't heard before. So far I feel like this is pretty good, and I'm excited that it seems like each section in the book is going to have videos to go along with it, which is really awesome. Okay guys, fast forward, I finished those 2 videos that I had to watch, and honestly, it was really easy and it was really quick to get through, especially because I could just like sit in bed and watch them, and it was super easy peasy. So I've now started the next section, which is food safety, and I'll say one thing, and you saw this when I was talking about like kind of the order of what they had on their website, like of the videos. One thing that I'm curious about, or like am not quite sure of these materials for the all access, is that it seems like it's kind of unorganized, because if they have like their example study guide of like what to study in what order, I'm just curious why they didn't make the book in that order, because now, like, let me show you. Okay, so this like panda bear is where I was, like where I finished like the first part of what I did is this whole section. And now I'm skipping ahead to this little cat where the food safety section is. So I don't really know why they didn't put it in just the order that they meant it to be studied in. I'm not totally sure about that, but I have moved on to what they suggest next, which is the food safety. And so this is another thing. I wasn't going to talk about this part about moving on, but I just wanted to mention because it's interesting. This part is different than the other one. The other one was like, yes, take notes on definitions, like write out everything that you feel like you want to write out and remember. But this section, it says that, for food safety, it's a lot more of like little facts of like, what is the internal cooking temperature of this food? What is biological hazard that is associated with this food? Things like that. And so it says that for this section, it suggests rather than just taking notes of like, this is this, take notes in the format of asking yourself questions. So for example, when I was reading through, this is what I was writing down. What are biological hazards was my first question. And then I wrote bacteria, viruses, parasites, fungi. Then I said, what do biological hazards cause? Foodborne illness. What are these harmful bacteria, viruses, and parasites called? Pathogens. And basically, I wasn't sure how that was going to work of just like asking myself questions, because also in this section, as you saw with my with the management section that I just did, there were like different sections, and at the end of each one were self-application, assessment, and practice questions. And this one does not have practice questions throughout. So it's kind of like they have found that the best study method to actually remember these numbers and this information is asking yourself questions along the way, because that helps it stick better. And I will say, by actually writing out like what cooked plant products are TCS, then I'm like, yeah, what cooked plant products are TCS? It's rice, beans, and baked potato, which that's so random. I wouldn't know. I'm glad I just reread that because I didn't even remember that from the other day. So anyways, it's been really interesting. So I already did like a good bit of notes, if you can see, like for this section. But the other thing that I really wanted to talk to y'all today was I was going to talk about something that my professor sent. And so this is something, if you're in like a coordinated program and you have a program director, oftentimes they can help with like getting some study materials, or they just like have contacts that like have things. So like this month, they were giving out like a free mock exam for the RD exam, actually through past class, because that seems to just be such a popular way to study nowadays. And so I was like, okay, great. Like that mock exam might be really beneficial, but it happened to be one that I had already gotten when I purchased my past class. But I am personally going to wait to take any mock exams until after I'm finished studying and when I'm about to take the actual exam. Because like I mentioned before, they talk a lot about the study smarter method and how you can kind of rationalize incorrect choices to yourself when you don't already know the correct answers. So like going in on a blind quiz, even if it could tell you like where you are, isn't always necessarily the best, because it can kind of like let you rationalize false things, and then you might remember those answers that you rationalized even though they're wrong instead of the correct ones. And that doesn't always happen. You can obviously like recorrect that. But I know that some people like to take it as like for example, for the ACT in high school, I took an ACT before I had taken or done any prep or studying. And then like I kind of worked from there on the parts that I needed to work on. So that could be beneficial, is if like you think that you have clinical down like really, really good and you just want to see what other parts you need to study, then that could be helpful. But I think for myself, I am so worried about not passing on the first try, and I really do not want to pay more than $250. And I also don't want to pay their like double thing where it's like you can pay like $100 more to get 2 tests. And I just don't want to do that because I don't want to bank on myself failing the first time. So I think I'm just going into it with the mindset of I want to study everything absolutely as much as I can of every single section instead of focusing on some over others, to give myself the best possible chance of passing when the test comes, because I just have no idea what's going to be on it or anything like that. So and basically my plan is to keep studying this whole book until the end of the semester, doing it kind of like every day as I have been, just a little itty bitty bit at a time, and then taking mock exams right when I'm about ready to take my actual exam to see like how ready I am and things like that. So anyways, that's just kind of my overarching plan. And I also have found, for anybody who's interested about like if you're going to forget anything if you start studying over a long period of time, personally, from my experience, I've been studying, like y'all have seen, for the past 2 months, and I feel like it's actually been beneficial to me to be doing a tidbit at a time, because I'm like kind of actively remembering that. And like and a lot of times, like after I finish a section or before I start a next section, I'll go back into my notes for the last section and I'll like read over it and be like, okay, here's like a review. So I do feel like I have been retaining the information. And that also is a personal thing, because some people study better if they just see everything like all at once in the span of like a few days or a few weeks. But like even when I'm studying for tests for school, I can do that and I can pass. But it's better for me in the long term to actually retain information if I let myself do some more like active recall and like take a little bit longer with the material. So yeah, that's basically where I am studying for the RD exam right now. I hope this was helpful to anybody who's maybe thinking about starting to study it soon, and kind of wanting to see just like what the process looks like, how long it's been taking me. And obviously every single person is different. Like you might start and do an hour every day and get like a million times further in the book than me at this point. It's just kind of been like I've skipped a lot of days because of being busy and tired, which is also to be expected when you're doing like a rotation and master's classes at the same time, and also trying to prioritize other things in your life as well that aren't the RD exam. Like yesterday, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, yesterday I literally was like, I should study 1 hour, but I want to be happy today. And like, and not that the days that I studied make me unhappy. I just yesterday was in the mood to be like, I just really want to like watch a show right now, because that would make me happy right now than studying for the RD exam. And I'm at a point where like, that's okay. I'm approaching my last semester, or I'm in my last semester. I'm approaching my last month of college ever. And that's a really special, unique time. And so letting yourself just like do what you want to a little bit, like you don't need to be all that rigid and all that structured, because there will be time when summer comes. And I'm hoping that in May, because I graduate May 1st, so I'm hoping that the whole month of May I'll have to do like practice questions, so that by the time that like the university verifies my degree, and then by the time that my program director puts my degree and my supervised practice hours in to make me eligible to take the RD exam in like June, then I will have a whole month to do practice questions, and I'll be ready to do that then. But I'm gonna give you guys more updates. Let me know like when you want another update, because like this time, I think, like I said, I literally posted when I opened my book in December, and this was the first update since then. So I don't know if y'all were like waiting, like, how's it going? What's going on? And so let me know if you want a video sooner on like how it's going, how the process is, even if the process is just like, yeah, you know what, realistically, I haven't really been able to study that much, or maybe it'll be a surprise and I will get some things done. But just let me know if you haven't heard from me in a while on this topic. You can be like, Victoria, come on, RD exam, hold me accountable, guys, okay? Hold me accountable, because I need it. So anyways, I hope that y'all enjoyed this. I hope that was helpful. Please leave any questions below. I will answer anything y'all have to throw at me, because I'm also going through this for the first time. I've never taken the RD exam before. Like I said, I'm not eligible to take it yet. And yeah, we were going over yesterday in one of our class meetings, like the current pass rate. And I think like the national pass rate right now is 60% for the first time taking it. Like 60% of people pass. So again, I'm a little bit nervous, and I just want to give myself the absolute best thing that I can. And I also think that when I graduate, when more months pass, I will also start using other tools that are not past class. So if you're interested in that, I'll definitely show you that. Some like podcasts that I've heard that are really good. And also I think like Eat Right mock exam seems to be like the closest one to the RD exam. And then also there's like a pocket prep that I might look into. So I will also show you all other materials that are not past class, because I know this one is really expensive and like it's a really large book. So I'll show you all that. And yeah, anyways, I just hope that it was helpful. I hope it was beneficial, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.